Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's the Branded Dude, and guys, I have a replay for you. It is branded 60 card grass going up against Chimera Fiendsmith. Just to put a disclaimer there, guys, this is actually before Supreme of Darkness, but this was a really good duel, so I actually wanted to show you guys how it went through. Chimera Fiendsmith, guys, that deck is actually crazy. It did get a slight one small support from Supreme Darkness, mainly the link 4, if I'm pronouncing right, it's Abba Q. I'm not sure, Abba Q, might be saying it wrong, sorry guys if I butcher that name, but the link 4, it is really good. It's a really good support for Chimera Fiendsmith. Essentially, they could start with the Fiendsmith plays, and at the regionals there was a player who was playing the Chimera Fiendsmith as a Mina build, and he managed to first start off with these as a Mina engine, then with his Fiendsmith. Sure, he didn't have access to his Chimera plays in his hand, so what he did was he went into link 4 from Supreme Darkness. I'm gonna just call it Q, went summoned into Q, and then he had that one Baphomet Chimera card in his graveyard. And if you don't know, the link 4 basically can banish itself to summon a lighter dark from the graveyard, and summoning that Chimera monster started his Chimera play. So that is something that's really improved Chimera Fiendsmith. It's a really cool deck. It really summons a lot, can set up quite I don't want to say a strong inboard, but can set up a board that has many layers of interruption. So this is a replay just before Supreme of Darkness, but essentially it almost felt like the link 4, even though he wasn't playing the link 4 at this time, he sort of did the same play. So in the replay I will point it out exactly how the link 4, the new link 4, can still do the same thing as I think, what's his name, Muckracker, the link 2 Muckracker did for this Chimera player. So anyways, enough yapping, let's hop straight into the video. So here in the rock paper scissors, we won and we chose to go first. In our opening hands, you'll see that we open Havness, Aluba, Mag, Lubellion, and Brandon. Opening, that's a pretty good hand. Opponent opens Edge Imp, Big Winged Baphomet. Yeah, I think, is it this one? Yeah, this one, Big Winged Baphomet. This is the card that the link 4 would summon from the graveyard, because remember, if they summon this, if they normal special summon and use its effect, it locks them into summoning only fusion monsters for the rest of the turn. So yeah, they start off with the Azamina or the Fiendsmith plays first, and then once they summon this, then they will start with the Chimera play. So yeah, this is the card that I was referring to, guys. So Big Wing Baphomet, sorry if I butchered that last word. We have Droplets, he has Droplets, he has Cornfield, and he has Frightful Patrick. So he has access to polymerization, and essentially he will be able to start off with his Chimera plays, depending on what he draws next, obviously. But anyways, we open a good hand. So in main phase, he first starts off with Rebellion, trying to get Saronia to hand. That way we can use it to discard off opening. We then go opening, hoping to bait out an Ash Blossom here. I'm sure many people do save the Ash for Branded Fusion, but some people do take the chance of ashing Branded opening. We send Saronia and summon Quem. So here it's Chainlink 1 Quem, Chainlink 2 Saronia. This way we can get access to Branded Fusion. We could send Retribution, but because I have a Lube in hand, I decided, what, it's fine. So I send Sword and I send Mercuria because we have Magnamut in our hand. Magnamut banishing the Mercuria. And here will be Chainlink 1 Mag, Chainlink 2 Mercuria. We get a search and research Albion the Strider Dragon. We then tribute to summon Lubellion, and Lubellion effect here will place Branded Regained. We don't go for Branded last year. I guess I was just I was actually prioritizing the draw. So yeah, we just go for Regained, and also getting the draw, trying to get more cards into our hand. So I wasn't too worried about using Lost, because essentially Lost would try to, when I perform Fusion, I would add Mercuria, but because I already sent Sword, I already had access to Mercuria anyway. So that is why we put Regain, and we will also be able to shuffle back a card and get a draw. We got Albion sending Retribution, and we draw into Thrust. Good draw, if our opponent activates a monster effect. Normal summon a Luba. Now here we were vulnerable to an Imperm, but luckily our opponent did not have it, and we search Branded Fusion. We then go Branded Fusion, which is met which is not met with Ash, and we Fusion summon into Albion, sending Alves and Cortesia. Chainlink 1 Albion, then we go Chainlink to Quem to reborn Cortesia. That way we can summon Grand Gogno. We banish Aluba and Albas to go into Lubellion. Rebellion, Chainlink 1. Now here I decided that I would discard the Havness, keeping a thrust, hoping, well, actually not hoping, just as insurance in case our opponent does activate a monster effect. So that's why we can use thrust. And Havness, I mean, sure, we could use, if we sent thrust, we could use Cartesia to use itself and Havness and basically go into Grand Gogno, and then Havness could trigger to get us another fusion, but I decided to keep the thrust instead. So Chainlink 1, Rebellion, Chainlink 2, regain targeting the Luba, and we just go Chainlink 3, Mercuria, just so that Mercuria is in our hand. So we have a monster negate in case our opponent drops no, but you know, we're already on over 5 summons there, so it really didn't matter. We then shuffle back a Luba to draw into grass, pretty good draw, and we fusion summon into Merge, sending back Rebellion and Albaz. On res, opponent did not have any response, so we went Cartesia, sending Albion, and Cartesia putting Albion in grave into Grand Gogno. Grand Gogno here did dump that Libitum of Despia, that's why it's just set up in our grave. We set thrust as a bluff, and we're not using grass because essentially we have done a lot of plays here, and I decided let me hold on to grass just as follow-up or just as a play for the next turn when it comes back to my turn. So I decided not to use grass. Honestly, it was good, keep it there, so that way we have a play when it comes back to our turn. We go to end phase, we go Albion effect, and we set branded in red. That's where we are able to go into Chimera. In this build, I wasn't playing Lad in the main deck, that's why I did not set branded banishment, so I was playing Chimera here. So yeah, now we have Chimera play. We have a line for Chimera. We have Mirrorjade, potentially 2 Mirrorjade banishes because of Adlib. Grand Gugno, which right now at the moment can only summon Coridas from our graveyard. If we do banish Guiding Quem before we trigger off Grand Gugno, we'll shuffle back the Quem, and that's where Grand Gugno can't summon the Quem back from our deck. We also have just a bluff there, so opponent most probably think it's an Imperm or another brand spell trap. In our graveyard, we are going to get Magnum Hut as well. So, you know, we have quite a number of interruptions as well as the Mercuria monster negate in our hand. We do search for Jura Swarm, so that is another interruption, and we pass turn. So we do set up quite a decent board. Our opponent draws into Talents, which is a pretty good draw. A very good draw for him. So he goes to main phase, starts off with Patchwork, searching Polymerization, and another Edge Imp. He then follows up with Kotal, which will search him a Chimera monster. So he searches Gazelle, the king of mythical claws. He then goes Polymerization, hoping to use Gazelle in order to trigger its effect. We don't respond to that, so he sends Gazelle and Edge Imp to go into, what's this guy's name? The mythical king Phantom Beast, which is basically Chimera, the flying mythical beast, while on the field or grave. Okay, so he will be able to use Cornfield's effect to give it targeting protection essentially, and also Sword Knight if it ends up in a graveyard. So Chainlink 1 Gazelle, and then Chainlink 2 what's his name, Edge Imp, and we go Chainlink, and also the Fusion Monsters effect as Chainlink 1, sorry, my bad. And then we just go Chainlink 4 regain to summon back Magnum Hut. He searches Patchwork, he then searches Sword Knight, and remember he hasn't normal summon yet, and he dumps Evil Sinister Hero Necrom. So this card, essentially what it tries to do is banish and summon a Dusted Gold, if I said the name right. So yeah, that's essentially what a lot of Chimera players are playing. Anyways, on raise we go Mag effect, so now his talent is live at this point. We then go Mirrorjade effect. The reason why is because we want to get rid of the fusion, which is basic, just get rid of the name Chimera, the flying mythical beast, off the field essentially. And also this fusion does help him quite a lot, so we just want to get rid of the fusion monsters, because if you allow the Chimera player to have their fusions in grave or allow it to enter the graveyard, it will give them more plays during your turn. I mean, that's the reason why. Just get rid of the fusion. Obviously he is also playing Guardian Chimera, so it's like, let's just reduce the number of bodies on the field as well. But we get rid of the fusion, it's really important. Now it's done and dusted, because this fusion, I believe, yeah, it also has effect where basically it can banish itself from the grave and target some banished beast, fiend, or illusion monster and special summon. So essentially you don't want this card to go to the graveyard. So we banish that. On res, our opponent uses the Evil Hero card to summon Adjusted Gold. Did I say his name? Yeah, Adjusted Gold. So he then goes, links off into Requiem. Yeah, Adjusted Gold also is a light fiend, so it gives them access to the Fiendsmith engine. So yeah, we have the Fiendsmith engine. We don't negate Requiem because if he drew into Fiendsmith Tract, it's not gonna do us any good. He then goes Lacrimas and Engraver, which is totally fine. He then, I think he chooses to go Talents. Yeah, he goes Talents to take. He chooses. We don't respond to it. We could have responded. Yeah, we have Branded Red, so it's not a good idea to use it because if you go into Chimera, he's just going to take it. I decided, you know what, just take any monster. He takes the Mirror Jade. So, takes the Mirror Jade means that Mercuria is no longer live at the moment, right? We don't have Rinbrum in our graveyard, nor do we have an Albaz in a graveyard. So, you know, we don't have a way to use Mercuria, essentially. But we still have Branded Red to, you know, summon Chimera. And here I was thinking, you know, at some point, Mirror Jade is going to go to our graveyard as material to either link summon or whatever form of summon he's going to do. So we were just holding or hoping on the fact that Mirror Jade will enter our graveyard. Then once it does, we will go branded in red. Okay? So anyways, he takes Mirror Jade. He then normal summons Sword, uses its effect, which we have no response to. And he summons the Gazelle from his deck. On summon, it will search him the Chimera Fusion spell. And on Chainlink 2, we also go Grand Gugna because remember, Sword Knight summoned a monster off its effect. And here we just bring out Caridas. That's where it's on the field. Sure, my opponent is playing a fusion deck, but because he's also playing Fiendsmith Engine, he could summon Lynx and Xyz monsters, or even a Synchro. I'm not sure what Synchro, most probably Chaos Angel, but you know, it's there. He searches the Chimera Fusion spell. On res, because a monster left the extra deck, we go Quem and we target, target Cartesia, and we go regain Chainlink 2. That way we can shuffle back our one copy of Grand Gugna, which we were playing in this build. Opponent goes Chainlink 3, Chimera Fusion, and we have no response here, so we let it go through. He sends away Lacrima, the Gazelle, and the Baphomet. I think I'm butchering that name, to the grave. So here he is going for Guardian Chimera. Anyways, we resolve backwards, sending back Grand Gugna, and we draw into Lubellion, and we summon Cartesia. On summon, it's Chainlink 1, Chimera, and Chainlink 2, the big winged guy. Essentially, what the big winged guy is going to do, I think he can target illusion and special summon it. So it's monster reborn of a illusion monster. He targets Mirror Sword Knight. We respond with Chainlink 2, Cartesia, I believe. I think we go, Chainlink 2, Cartesia. Then we go Chainlink 3, Jerusalem, targeting the Sword Knight, so it gets banished. And then we also go Chainlink, whatever Chainlink we want, branded in red, because this is right now going to be popped if we don't use it. So we're going to have to use it. We target Adlib, and we banish Lubellion, Adlib. I banished a second copy of Bestial Lubellion by accident because Chimera needs 3 different monsters. So anyways, I do end up banishing the Mercuria from my hand instead as the material, because remember, Jerusalem is attempting to banish something, and may as well just allow Jerusalem to summon. That way we have a body on the field to protect ourselves. So we banish the Mercuria from our hand, and my opponent, so we banished the Lacrima. Oh, did we banish the Lacrima? Sorry, my bad guys. We didn't target the Sword Knight, we targeted the Lacrima. So that, I think the Chimera player was playing a second copy of Lacrima in this build. Usually that's how it is, because you know, bestials are going around here. So yeah, we banished the Lacrima, and my opponent ends up popping the Mag, and not popping the Mag. We fusion away Mag and Cartesia into Grand Gugno again, and my opponent draws into, he summons Sword Knight, and he summons Sword Knight, draws into Talents, and he pops Regained and our set card, which was the Thrust. You know, he just outbluffed there. So anyways, that is cool. On resolution though, we do go Chainlink 1 Chimera, Chainlink 2 Grand Gugno, because we use its special summon effect, but we're not first time now we're using its Foolish Berry effect, and we go Chainlink 3 Mercuria to get a search. With Mercuria and Adlib effect, which I forgot about, targeting Albion, the Branded Dragon. We didn't have any decent targets. I think we didn't have any other Despias to summon, so we had to go for this fusion monster just to put a body on the field to protect ourselves. So that all resolves. My opponent does go Droplet now, and he sends Patrick. I think he only sends one. That's why he can negate Chimera, so Chimera is not going to pop cards on his field. So Chimera does get negated. We summon Albion the Branded. We search Kit of Mercuria. Grand Gugno here dumps Serenia, so we can just get a trigger effect. I didn't want to send a fusion from my graveyard because my extra deck was send the fusion from my extra deck because I needed enough fusions in my graveyard, and because I was betting on the fact that Albion would go to the grave. So I decided, let me just mull from my main deck, so just to thin out my deck. So on res now, because Chimera didn't get to pop, we go Chainlink 1 Serenia just to mull, and we mull High Spirit, so that's where we can add its back to hand in the end phase. Now here my opponent does go Engraver effect, shuffling back his Adusted Gold, summons it. There is Requiem in his graveyard, so he's going to use it to equip. He then goes Engraver effect and he targets Chimera, which we don't respond to, we let that resolve. He then he's going to link off Engraver and Mirror Sword Knight into his sequence effect. Here will perform a fusion summon which resolves. He then shuffles back his Chimera monsters to go into another copy of the Mythical King fusion guy, which we banished initially. He then goes Chimera Fusion. That way so he summoned the fusion, that's why he could add the Chimera Fusion back to hand. He then goes I think he goes into SP here. No, he goes to battle phase. We don't use Caridas because all of these monsters are fusions and this one's the only non-fusion, so using Caridas effect is just not going to do anything. He destroys Caridas, he destroys Grand Gugno. I think he also destroys Quem. And obviously he's not going to destroy Jerusalem because Jerusalem will trigger to send one of his special summon monsters to the grave. He then links off Mirrorjet and Chimera into SP. SP here will banish our Albion on the field, so unfortunately we do not get Albion's effect in the end phase. He then attempts to go, he links off into Muckracker. Here, Muckracker effect, discarding talents to summon the big wing Baphomet guy. So remember guys, as I was mentioning, the Link 4 from Supreme Darkness, essentially this is the play that it goes for. The only difference is the Link does not require him to discard a card. He just simply needs to banish itself and then special summon this big winged monster guy from his graveyard. So that is the play I was referring to in the beginning of the video. Anyways, moving on. The on summon it will be Big Wings effect, searching Chimera Fusion, and he also searches another Gazelle. He then goes Chimera Fusion, sending Muckracker and Edgeimp to go into Magnum the Reliever. Now he has a pop. He then goes Sequence effect. Basically all he wanted to do was to trigger Magnum's effect. So Chainlink 1 sequence, then Chainlink to Magnum, banishing the polymerization to pop our Jerusalem. Requiem equips. We then go Jerusalem, targeting, I think we target his fusion. We target the Big Wing Baphomet because we know Cornfield is in the grave, so Cornfield is used up. That's why you don't need to worry about that effect during our turn. He then goes Magnum effect, just shuffling back Chimera to draw a card. He draws into Engraver, which I think he already used. I'm talking about the search effect. Is there a tract in the graveyard? No, okay, so he can use Engraver effect. Anyways, he sets Chimera Fusion and he attempts to pass his turn. In the end phase though, we have Mag, which resolves, searching as Albion the Shard Dragon because we already have Bestial Rebellion in our hand. And we will also got Cartesia to add to hand and also High Spirits to add to hand as well. Unfortunately, we do not have any Albion the Branded Dragon or any other fusions triggering, or besides Titan, actually, my bad. Here we summon Albaz. The reason why we summon Albaz is because I think, he has Sword Knight in the graveyard. So sure, we could have summoned Albaz, use its effect to force Mirror Sword Knight, but I decided, let's just add cards to our hand because we have Grass, we have High Spirits, and I think we have a really good hand to start our turn off with. So we don't use Albaz effect. Remember also guys, in this build I was only playing one Quem. So anyways, we draw for turn and we draw Thrust. Really good draw. Fantastic draw. In main phase, we first go Bestial Rebellion, just trying to bait out any hand traps or interruptions. This resolves though, my opponent doesn't do anything. So we search Serenia because Magnum Hut is in the grave and we only play one copy of Jerusalem, which is also in the graveyard. We then go Kit's effect, forcing out we were trying to force out Mirror Sword Knight here as well. And also maybe, maybe he has a hand trap like Effect Veil or something. Anyways, Kit's effect here, I think he does not respond. And then we just go Chainlink to Retribution and we target Branded Fusion. No response here, so we add Fusion and we do add back the Branded Retribution because Branded Retribution is really good to shuffle back our branded spells and also our fusions as well. So it helps us with the grind game. And then we just keep back the High Spirits because High Spirits, we're not going to use it. It's fine. Even sure, we could use it. We could use it as a discard fodder, but rather just discard the monsters or even put an Albaz in our graveyard as well. So we just put High Spirits. It's a dead card, we don't need it. We then follow up with Brand of Fusion, which is not met with Ash. So we sent Albaz and Sharon into Rebellion. So here we were kind of vulnerable to an imperm effect value, but luckily our opponent did not have it. Could I have summoned Cartesia before using Brand of Fusion? Unfortunately, no, unless I use Albion's effect to dump an Albaz. That was the one way to do it. So that would have been a better play, honestly. But anyways, it's all good. So we use Rebellion, discarding the Albion Shrouded and channeling to Sharon. Here we also go channeling 3 Serenier, forcing out the Mirror Sword Knight. Now here my opponent does go channeling for Chimera Fusion, which is fine. He's not using Magnum the Reliever yet, so he fusion summons into Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts. I think this is the one where he can banish his card from grave, then reborn a beast, fiend, or illusion in his graveyard. Okay, cool. So now he was able to put this fusion in the graveyard, which can summon a monster that is banished, and he also has this fusion which will reborn from the graveyard if it enters the graveyard. Anyways, so we summon what's his name, Serenier, banishing sword, and now you'll see the reason why the opponent activate Chimera Fusion is because now that this fusion is in the graveyard, he can banish it to summon Sword Knight during our turn, and this card does count as Chimera, the flying mythical beast, so he will be able to use a monster negate during our turn. So we shuffle back Sharon and we shuffle back Caritas to go into Predaplant just to recycle our fusion monsters. That's why I did that. And we then shuffle back Albion and Fallen of Albaz to go into Mirror Jade. The reason why I didn't use Rebellion is because I had Retribution, so I thought it was fine. Let's just shuffle back other Albaz fusion monsters so that Mirror Jade has enough cards to banish, and we'll just put this Rebellion back off Retribution. On res, my opponent goes Chainlink 1, the fusion monster, and Chainlink 2, Gazelle, because it was used as fusion material, so he will be able to add Mirror Sword Knight to hand. So also in our end phase, we are going to lose cards as well. We then go into battle phase. Sure, here I could have used Thrust to take, but we were not going to be able to deal enough damage for game, so we were going to save Thrust for something else. We enter battle phase, get rid of a Magnum, get rid of the Big Winged, and get rid of the Fusion, and we just attack directly for 1700 because Rebellion cannot attack directly. Then go main phase 2. In main phase 2, we go Cartesia to summon itself. We don't have a second copy of Grand Guggenot, so we just put the Cartesia on the field. That way we can also have another way to fusion summon during our opponent's turn. But we use Cartesia now. We send Albaz and Albaz and Serenier to go into Barrel of Furies, and then on res we trigger Serenier effective Foolish Burial, where we send Brand Open. That way we have destruction protection for our fusions. We set the Brand of Retribution and we activate Thrust. Now since my opponent controls nothing, we have to set it, but luckily we do set Brand of Banishment, which is decent for us. We then go to end phase. In end phase, do we have a couple of effects? No, we pass priority. So now my opponent is going to go use the King of Mythical Beasts to reborn his Magnum the Reliever, but he's good because, yeah, I guess he didn't have any plays there. I'm not sure, I'm not a Chimera player, but anyways, we win game number 1 and we go to game number 2. Now, in game number 2, guys, you'll see in our opening hands, we do open Aluba, Brand of Fusion, Serenier, Cartesia, and Brand of Sword. Decent hand for us. Opponent opens Sword Knight, Poly, Talons, Nightmare Apprentice, and Engraver. So he has access to his Fiendsmith plays and Fiendsmith as well. Did I say Fiendsmith twice? Sorry, Fiendsmith and Chimera plays, and he also has talents to break our hand if we activate something. So he starts with Engraver, sending Tract, basically summon Lurry, then Requiem effect summon Lacrima will dump another Engraver. He then goes Engraver effect here, and now here I decide to use Serenier because I knew for a fact that if he goes into High King Caesar, this hand that I open is gonna need me to draw into Droplet. Okay, so yeah, we put ourselves at risk for talents just so that we can stop our opponent from summoning a wave High King Caesar, but we get punished with talents and he rips out the Brand of Fusion from our hand, so that kind of sucks. Anyways, now my opponent can just play freely. Nightmare Apprentice here will search Cornfield now will get him first Necrocrypt, then Cornfield because he wants to trigger Necrocrypt to draw. Here he draws into Chimera Fusion. He normally summons Gazelle adding Big Winged. He then links off into SP, banishing Serenier. yeah, that was just a lag there, guys. And he goes poly, summoning that fusion. So basically here, here went Chainlink 1. I'm just going to call this guy Chimera. He went Chainlink 2 Gazelle, and also Chainlink 3 was Big Winged, which will reborn the Sword Knight from his graveyard. So he reborns the Sword Knight. He then also goes, what's his name, Gazelle, to add an illusion monster from deck to hand, which he is going to do now. And this fusion just dumped Evil Hero Sinister Necrom. So he adds Diabels of Gazelle. The fact that Diabels forces us to set cards before activating them is crazy. So anyways, he goes Evil Hero effect to summon a Dusted Gold. He then links SP and Dust Gold into Sequence. Sequence effect here will shuffle back a Dusted, Engraver, and Requiem to bring out Desiree. Does he go into Agnum Day? No. He goes Sword Knight effect, summoning another Big Winged from deck. Big Winged will search Chimera Fusion, as well as another Gazelle. The fact that this deck searches a lot means that Duel is really good against this deck. He then goes Chimera Fusion, sending Sequence and Gazelle to summon the Chimera, well, this fusion monster, which is gonna rip another card in the end phase off our hand. So we are in a tough position here. Chimera Fusion to add itself to hand, which he activates, sending Diabels and the fusion monster. So now Diabels is in the grave, and he goes into Magnum the Reliever. He used Magnum Reliever, sending back a Chimera Fusion to draw a card. He draws into Aegium, so here he didn't draw into hand traps. He uses Sequence to equip to Desiree. He sets Chimera Fusion and he passes. So yeah, guys, now here we do get hit with the end phase hitting our Luba, which is unfortunate. We draw into Cartesia, and yeah, that's it, guys. So that's Serenia in Serenia in during our opponent's turn and getting hit with talents was extremely unfortunate for us. So anyways, opponent wins game number 2. Now in game number 3, we do go first, but you need to realize, well, you actually need to know that I actually don't have anything in my side that will help me to play against Chimera Fiendsmith, unfortunately. So here, guys, I decided to put in the Imperms as well as D-Barry. Now I get a D-Barry, yes, it's basically a fusion deck going up against another fusion deck, but I decided to put D-Barry because for that exact reason, I wanted to prevent my opponent from fusion summoning. So in our hand, we open Thrust, Imperm, Bestial Rebellion, D-Barry, and Brand Fusion. Decent hand for us. Opponent opens Apprentice, Talents, the Evil Hero, Guy, Ash Blossom, and Frightful Patrick. So he does have Ash. First go Bestial Rebellion, forcing out any interruptions, which doesn't meet any, so we add Serenia. We then go Brand of Fusion, which gets ashed, and we go Thrust. Here we search Fusion Duplication, and we set Imperm and D-Barry, and we pass. Opponent draws into Cornfield. Now here I decided I could have used Fusion Duplication before activating D-Barry, but I decided to hold on to it first. Opponent first goes Patrick's, adding Polly and Aegium to hand. My opponent then goes, special summoning Apprentice, sending Evil Hero, which is fine. He adds Sword Knight. He then Evil Hero first summoning a Dusted Gold. He then goes Polymerization, and here I decided to hit him with D-Barry, calling Fusion. Now here I was hoping that my opponent would pass his turn immediately. Like, sure, maybe he'll do 1 or 2 plays and he will pass turn, but unfortunately he then links off into Requiem. Requiem effect here will summon the Lacrima. He goes Lacrima effect, sending Engraver, which is fine because we do have Serenia to get rid of that Engraver. He goes Engraver effect, which we then go Bestial Serenia on it, so no Engraver for him. Opponent goes Talents. I think he goes Talents to take, if I remember, not to draw. No, yeah, he goes Talents to take. So he has another body to link off. He links, synchros into Chaos Angel, which is going to attempt to banish our Imperm, and we go Chainlink to Serenia. So we don't use Imperm obviously because it's just getting banished, and then Serenia here dumps Brand of Retribution. That way we can add back Brand of Fusion. Opponent then normal summons Sword Knight. So now here he enters battle phase. He attacks us for 3/5, for 1/9, and for 2000. So that is a lot of damage we took. And unfortunately, he does go Mirror Sword Knight effect to summon Big Winged Baphomet, and that is enough for game. So we end up losing. Well, he adds Chimera Fusion and Gazelle, but he managed to put enough bodies on the field to deal damage. And unfortunately, we do end up losing game number 3. So obviously, I could have used Fusion Duplication first before anything, but I guess you know, even if I did summon, let's say Mirror Jade, banish something, then Mirror Jade, Mirror Jade, banish something, and then we go D barrier, you know, calling fusions, there's a good chance he could, what's his name? Chaos Angel could banish our Mirror Jade, and I think my opponent would be able to still deal enough damage on the field for game. But you know, that is a play I could have went for, but I was really hoping that me activating the barrier would make my opponent set, attack for little damage and pass, but I was proven wrong, and unfortunately that does cost us and we end up losing this matchup. But you know guys, I wanted to show you this match because it was a pretty intense duel. Game number 1 was crazy, game 2, which was pretty unfortunate. I swear guys, every time when it comes to game 2 or 3 and I'm going second, I always tell myself don't activate anything because your opponent has talents, and you know, most of the time I am right. I am usually right most of the time, so I just end up just watching them play, do their full combo. Then if I have a bestial in hand, maybe in end phase, I would then only activate it. So that's why we don't lose to thrust or to talents as well. But yeah guys, that is the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.